Hello everyone. Today I wanted to give you some design considerations when building your new chicken coop, and also wanted to show you my new chicken coop that's currently under construction. So let's get into it. So the first consideration is coop size. You need approximately 2 to 3 square feet inside your coop and 8 to 10 square feet in the run area per chicken. So for example, if you have a 4x4 hen house, which is 16 square feet, and an 8x10 run, which is 80 square feet, you should be able to keep 8 birds comfortably. If you overcrowd your coop, you and your birds aren't going to be happy. Overcrowding causes issues. They'll be fighting, they'll be pecking on each other, and occasionally they'll make a little bloody spot or pluck out a feather that bleeds, and they'll just keep pecking at it and pecking at it. So that happened to me. One morning, I woke up to basically a chicken husk. The birds had been pecking at this bird all day, and they ended up eating it. Chickens are omnivores. So they ended up eating the whole bird and left me with the skin and feathers. So please don't overcrowd your birds. Save yourself and your chickens the problem. All right, so my coop house is basically 4 feet wide, right? 4 feet wide by about 16 feet long, which is approximately 60 square feet. That would be appropriate for 30 birds in the coop. And my run area is 16 feet wide by about 28 feet long, which is 448 square feet. So that would be approximately 44 birds. So I should be able to have, if I went on my coop house, I should be able to keep 30 comfortably and 44 with the run area. But I'm planning on having 40 to 60 chickens, right? And I can avoid any of those overcrowding issues that you might expect because I'm going to free range my birds daily, right? The only thing I need to do is ensure that there is enough roosting space for them to roost comfortably at nighttime. So I'll start off with a lower number of birds, watch them as they roost and see how they do. From what I've noticed, they've all been really packed tightly together, so I feel comfortable that I'll be able to do 40 to 60 birds in my coop. All right, so if I'm going to free range my birds, you might be asking, why do you have such a large run area? Well, this is something to consider, right? I wanted to have the option to keep them in the coop if I needed to, so they could be comfortable in the coop. I could leave them in. Say for example, if I'm going to have a family gathering or a party and I don't want the chickens running up on my patio or my driveway or pooping everywhere, I want to keep the yard nice and clean, I'll leave them in. Or say for another example, let's say I'm seeding grass in a certain area, or I've freshly planted something that I don't want them to dig up, then I'm going to leave them in for a few days. Because if you had chickens before, you know they can be pretty destructive. I mean, these guys will dig potholes everywhere. They love to scratch and they love to dig. All right, so it's just very nice to have the option, that's all. Let's take a look. All right, so the second consideration is, once you get your size figured out, is determining where to place your coop. All right, location, location, location is the key. So this is my second coop built. The town I used to live in, they had an ordinance in town that allowed you to have 4 laying hens. So I built a small coop, little 4x8 coop, had a run. It was basically very similar to this, just a lot smaller. All right, we had a nice spot in between the fence and my patio, concrete patio, right by my master bedroom window. Big mistake. If you did not know it, hens are loud. They are noisy. They let the whole world know when they lay an egg. So I'm happy to say that this coop is far from the main house. All right. All right. So another thing is drainage, right? So my last coop, where I put that coop in between the fence and the concrete patio, all the water from the patio was designed to run away from the house, and it ran directly to the coop. If you see how you have a border around the bottom of your coop like that, the water ran down there, and basically because the chickens had been scratching and digging it out, basically all the water filled up about 3 inches in the bottom of my coop, and I basically had chicken poo stew all winter long. It was not beneficial for the chickens or myself. All right, so you can see, I don't know if you can tell from the video or not, but this is on a slight grade, so it's all going down that way, and it also grades out to the back as well. So I have a pretty good roof on this. There's quite a big dry area up underneath and over here, and then it drops down to out here, where hopefully all the water is going to run off the roof and just out into my field. So please don't put your coop in a low-lying area or a low spot, or you're just going to have a muddy, yucky mess, right? So that's your second consideration. So the third and maybe most valuable consideration are ease of life considerations. These are basically things that make your day-to-day routine with your chickens easier, such as how you collect your eggs and how you feed and water. Preferably, you're going to be able to do all that stuff from the outside of the coop. So on my first coop, as I was telling you about, I hung my feeder and my water up underneath the coop down there. And because it was chicken poo stew, you can imagine it was very difficult to bend down under there while you're standing in this muddy mess and try to get the food and water containers out to feed them. It was no fun. It was more of a chore, and nobody wanted to do it. All right, so my plan to feed is to use a PVC tube, right? So I got this PVC tube right here, for example. I haven't done it yet. This is a small one, probably about 2 inches. But basically, I'm going to get a 4 to 6 inch PVC tube, attach it to the outside of the coop, cut the top off with a cap, and then angle it probably down here somewhere, angle it inside to the coop with an angle, and run it down at an angle to where it will run into a feeder bucket or a homemade PVC tube feeder type. Something that won't allow the chickens to make a mess and kick all their food out or fling all their food out all over the ground. So if you want to see my temporary situation over here, they will do just that. They knock over the feeder and you got a big mess. Camera's not focusing. And you got a big mess of food down there, right? And it goes to waste. So that's no bueno, right? So hopefully I'm going to use a 4 to 6 inch piece of pipe, like I said, and I'm hoping that that's going to hold 30 to 50 pounds of food. So I won't have to come out here daily and feed. I can fill it up maybe once a week or twice a week. That's going to allow me to keep up homesteading part-time while me and my wife have our full-time job. So for watering my birds, I bought these cups. I wanted to get away from using bowls, dishes, or buckets or anything like that. You have to clean those out frequently. They get dirty fast. The chickens always seem to step in it or sit on the rim and poo in it. It's gross to clean, and it's a way to spread disease among your flock. I tried the nipples before on these things, these buckets with the chicken water nipples. I didn't like them. I thought they leaked. They didn't provide an adequate amount of water. The chickens just didn't like to use them. It's kind of an unnatural way for them to drink by bending their heads up and stuff. So I just didn't want to go that route. So we're going to try these instead. Okay. One thing about these, I don't think that they are designed to be plumbed into a standard pressure water line. I can imagine, water spraying out or a chicken breaking it. What a mess. I mean, it's just going to spray water all over your coop for however long that you're gone. And most of the installations I seen, the supply water was from a 50-gallon drum. And that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. I think it's better in case I have a broken cup or water's not wasted or it doesn't flood my coop. I can limit it to X amount of water. So maybe I'll only fill up my barrel maybe 30 gallons. And if I want to make it easier on myself, I can always install a float valve into that bucket or that 50-gallon drum later to keep it full. In any case, I won't have to fill it up often or clean out the water containers, so I just think it's going to be better all around. And when I get to it, I'll post a video on the installation, how well it works, and how well the chickens like it, or don't like it for that matter. So the next thing with ease of life considerations is egg collection. You know, design your coop with outside access to the laying boxes. This is the most common feature on many coops these days, and pretty much really it's important as you're going to be collecting eggs at least once a day, if not more. So a standard laying box is 12 by 12 by 12. So this obviously is 4 feet wide as stated. So I should have been able to get 4 laying boxes in here, and on this side I did. So if you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4 over there in the corner. And then on the other side, where hopefully I'll be raising my meat birds, I left it just didn't seem big enough. It didn't seem right, so I left this one at 3. 1, 2, and 3. They're a little bit bigger. We'll see how the chickens fare and which ones they like better or not so much. We'll see how they work, if they like the smaller area, more confined, or if they like the larger one. And I probably didn't mention it, but if you probably noticed that I split my coop. It's a build, you know, one complete build altogether, but I did split everything right down the middle. So I have 2 separate coops, so I can have 2 separate flocks of birds, which is going to come in handy. One other thing about this large clean out door is if I ever have to access the coop to get in here to make repairs, it's real simple. I just come in here, I can climb up in here and do any work that I need to do inside the coop, instead of trying to climb through a small little chicken opening like that. So, all right. Construction is the last consideration I'm going to talk about today. Primarily cost. It can be expensive, and in all, honestly, I'm approaching $1,000 on this coop, and my wife was not happy until I showed her this. This coop was probably suitable for 6 chickens max, and that's pushing it. Really. And for 500 bucks, you gotta be kidding me. Those pre-made coops are pricey and cheaply made. So yeah, I spent a lot, but it's big and it's going to last. Not bad if I say so. So let's talk about materials. You know, first thing, just go to your local building supply store. Look at the materials, get measurements, prices, options, and incorporate that into your build. For example, I knew plywood came in 4x8 sheets. So I planned my build to utilize those sheets. My coop house is 4 feet wide, which that's the width of a sheet of plywood. So one sheet cut in half would do this end and the other end. 2 full sheets of plywood fully cover this section, which will be doors and windows cut out, and that section, which also will be doors and windows cut out. So 2 there, 1 for each end, and 2 here. So 2, 4, 6, got this whole coop wrapped. Also, there was 1 sheet of plywood for each bottom and 1 sheet of plywood for the top. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 covered the whole entire coop. Also, when it comes to construction as well, I knew my 2x4s were going to be 8-foot lengths. So I spaced all my poles at 8-foot lengths, so I didn't have to cut any of the 2x4s, right? And some of the things I skimped on for this coop and some of the things I didn't. I used screws for all the construction, no nails. I also concreted all the posts in the ground because I wanted to build this once and have it last for a long time. So as you can see, all the posts are concreted in, and then I got some asphalt type paint for the paint and paint for that as well. I also splurged on metal roofing. I sheeted the whole roof and then I put metal roofing on the top. The metal roofing is just this, it's just corrugated metal, but it's pretty pricey as well. All right, the one thing that I wish I wouldn't have skimped on was the plywood sheeting. I don't know if you can see, I used 1/2 inch, and it was pretty flimsy, not very thick, and the screws didn't even really hold into it very well. If I had a choice to do it over and the funds to do it, I would definitely go with 3/4 inch plywood on that. So don't save your money on the plywood for sure. All right. One last thing I wanted to say is you don't have to be a carpenter or a construction professional to build a coop, to do it yourself. So I'm none of those things. I just did a little research and went for it. I made lots of mistakes on it. The coop house is not square, you know, neither is the run. All the measurements are off, and trying to put the floor in was ridiculous. Because my coop's not square, when I tried to put in a 4x8 piece of plywood, nothing lined up. I mean, you can see all the cut marks, and I had to force things in. On the other side, there's a big gap in the floor that I had to just basically take some scrap wood and cover it so the chickens wouldn't get hurt. When I ran my straight line to make sure that all my posts were lined up all the way down, right? When I ran a straight line. So I got over here, and watch, you'll be able to see when I line it up. So I did run a straight line, so it looks pretty good there. When you come over here and you look, this one is not straight. I put this post on the outside of the straight line. All the other posts went on the inside. So that's why we're gonna have this crazy mess right here with the wire is on the inside of the post there, and the wire is on the outside of the post there, because these are offset. But it was a mistake that I made, and I didn't realize it till after I put the concrete in. But it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's all wonky, but it's definitely okay. It doesn't have to be perfect for me, or it doesn't have to be perfect for you. It just has the work for the chickens, you know? It's okay if you make errors. You'll find a way around it, like I'm gonna have to do right here when I'm trying to put a post up here on this wire. So, right. So also on the roof, I put this metal roofing up here, and I had a problem at the top side right here to keep the water from flowing underneath the wood, right? So I saw this piece right here at the hardware store. I don't even know what it's called or what it's for, but it works. It keeps the water from getting underneath up at the top. I just saw it, I bought it, I put it on. Just make it work, you know? So I'm gonna show you my plans, the plans that I drew up. I mean, these plans aren't professional. I'm probably the only one that can understand it, and it's changed. So here are the plans that I drew out for my chicken coop. It's not exactly what the build is. It's not the same thing, because it changed as my wants and for the chickens changed. But as you can see, it is not perfect as I was building it. It doesn't even look like it originally started, but it's almost done now, you know? So if you want chickens and you want a coop, just do it. Because if I can do it, I guarantee you, you can do it. All right? So once again, there's the chicken coop. Oh, and my son wants to name the coop. He wants me to build a plaque and put a name on it. So I was thinking KFC or the Colonel's house or something corny like that. So if you have a suggestion for a coop name, hey, put it in the comments below, let me know, and we'll see if we pick one of your guys' suggestions. Well, that's it for this part-time homestead video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to making another video, and if you're looking forward to it as well, please subscribe and support the channel. Thank you. See you next time.